Welcome back to Unpopular on Purpose, where I take the stories from the NFL everybody's talking about and give you the opinion that would probably get me kicked out of the group chat. This week, I've got 5 of them. The NFL has killed the Pro Bowl, and I think that might actually make being a Pro Bowler better. The league signed more sportsbook deals, which raises a question: does the NFL actually hate gambling, or is it just that it hates gambling that it is not getting paid for? We are talking about how NIL money could eventually give us college superstar enough leverage to look at the NFL draft and say, nah, I'm good. Cleveland inexplicably makes a show again after the Deshaun Watson situation has officially gotten so bad that the statues outside the stadium are getting involved. 49ers owner Jed York is under review by the NFL after his arrest in Ohio, but before Roger Goodell investigates a personnel conduct policy, I have one major question. If you like sports takes that don't sound like they came directly from the ESPN production meeting, hit like, subscribe to the channel, let me know in the comments which take you think I'm completely wrong about. Because agreeing with me is optional, but arguing in the comments is highly encouraged. This is Unpopular on Purpose. Let's get into it.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Dreams are made of these. Who am I to disagree? I travel the world and the 7 seas. Everybody's looking for something. Some of them want to use you. Some of them.
The NFL is officially eliminating the Pro Bowl games. In my unpopular opinion, good. The Pro Bowl should have been dead years ago. And strangely enough, getting rid of the game might actually make being named a Pro Bowler more meaningful because nobody stopped caring about being selected to the Pro Bowl. Players stopped caring about playing in it. Those are two completely different things. Being an 8-time Pro Bowler still means something to a lot of players when we talk about their career and their future Hall of Fame prospects. But the actual game, the NFL spent years trying to resuscitate a corpse. First, everybody stopped tackling. Then we got flag football. Then we got dodgeball. Then we got skills competitions. At some point, we're about 3 seasons away from Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes competing on The Price is Right. Just let it go, man. Just let it go. The funniest part was always the replacements. Somebody gets selected, he declines. The next guy is hurt. The next guy's in the Super Bowl. The next guy already has vacation plans. And eventually, somebody gets a phone call. Congratulations, you are a Pro Bowler. And he's like, me? Bro, you didn't make the Pro Bowl. You were the 7th alternate. You didn't make it. You just cleared the waiting list. And that is why I actually love the new rule that there won't be replacement selection. You pick the best players. Those are your Pro Bowlers. Whether they attend the ceremony or sit at home eating Cinnamon Toast Crunch with their feet kicked up, that has nothing to do with the honor. The NFL spent years standing over the Pro Bowl with the little paddles yelling, clear! And every year, somebody brought back an even dumber defibrillator. Dodgeball wasn't saving it. Clear. Flag football wasn't saving it. Clear. The game itself stopped mattering. So celebrate the players instead. Give them a trophy. Give them a jacket, a ceremony. Put Pro Bowler on their resume forever because the award still matters. The football game where nobody wants to tackle, that does not. And maybe killing the Pro Bowl finally saves the one part of the Pro Bowl worth keeping, being good enough to get selected in the first place. Segment 2. The NFL does not hate gambling. The NFL just signed a new sportsbook partnership. In my unpopular opinion, the NFL doesn't hate gambling. The NFL hates gambling that it isn't getting paid for. And before you guys start screaming at me, yes, players betting on the NFL game should absolutely be prohibited. They have inside information. They can affect outcomes. Coaches, officials, league employees need strict rules too. That part makes complete sense. What cracks me up is the NFL's morality voice. A player places the wrong wager. Oh, the integrity of professional football has been compromised. Then DraftKings backs up to the NFL offices with a dump truck full of money. Oh, welcome, valued business partner. Come on in. Have a drink. We've got lovely cucumber water in the back. The NFL's gambling policy sometimes sound like gambling is dangerous, irresponsible, and it threatens the integrity of our sport unless you use promo code NFL. And that's the contradiction we're trying to get around. The league doesn't actually have a gambling problem. It has a conflict of interest problem. And that is what the rules should focus on, because gambling is already stitched into the fiber of the sport. Pre-game odds, live odds, same game parlays, any touchdown scores, halftime betting updates. You can barely watch a quarterback kneel anymore without some guy named Billy in Nebraska screaming because it ruined leg 4 of his parlay. The NFL has decided that sports betting can sit very close to football, just not too close. And that is a very narrow sidewalk, because you can't spend hundreds of millions of dollars integrating sports books into the NFL experience and then act shocked that gambling has become a part of how fans consume football. The NFL doesn't want gambling separated from football. They want gambling close enough to make money, but far enough away that nobody questions the game. And that's the real challenge. So keep the restrictions on the players, keep them on the coaches, keep them on the officials, protect competitive integrity. But stop acting like the league itself is morally opposed to gambling. It isn't. The NFL has made its position extremely clear. Gambling is dangerous. Gambling can threaten the shield. Gambling must be strongly controlled and most importantly, make sure the sponsorship check clears. Segment 3. College players are getting too much leverage. The NFL had to remind teams that college players can't simply leave the NCAA and jump into the league before becoming eligible. In my unpopular opinion, NIL is eventually going to create a player powerful enough to seriously challenge the NFL draft system. Maybe not today, maybe not next year, but it's coming. And Manning is going to be rough. See what I did there? Manning is going to be rough instead of man is going to be rough, kind of letting you know where my brain is on that. Because the NFL draft usually works because young players historically had very little leverage. You become the best quarterback in college football, congratulations. Who gets first choice? The worst team in professional football. And historically, the player had to say, sounds wonderful, where do I live? Because NFL money changed your life, but NIL is changing that equation. Some elite college players are now arriving at draft eligibility already wealthy, and that money gives you something extremely important: the ability to wait. The NFL draft is basically congratulations on becoming one of the best young football players alive. And your reward, the most dysfunctional organization gets dibs on the next several years of your future. And normally, you had to accept that. But imagine the number one quarterback already has several $1 million in the bank. They've already got sponsorship deals in X and Y and Z. And the team picking first has destroyed 4 quarterbacks in 6 years. Or if you're the Browns, 100 million quarterbacks over the last 20 years. They say, hey, you have to play here. And someday, one of these kids is going to look back and say, actually, I don't. Now, that is when things will get more interesting. And we've seen resistance before. We saw John Elway. We saw Eli Manning. But those situations were unusual. They were not the status quo. But NIL could make that kind of leverage more accessible to everyone. Maybe a player refuses to sign. Maybe they stay in college and soak up all 5 years of this new eligibility rule. Maybe other leagues become involved. Maybe his agent forces a trade before draft night. I don't know what the mechanism will eventually be, but just like in Terminator, Skynet will take over. These college kids are getting more leverage every day. But somebody is going to test the upper limits and the walls of this power. Every system works perfectly until the people inside realize that they have options. NIL is giving elite college players those options. And here's the other side. I don't actually want the draft destroyed because parity matters. Bad teams need access to great players. Otherwise, every superstar just chooses whatever organization already has the best coach, best owner, nicest weather. So you're going to get everybody flocking to a Kansas City, a Philadelphia, LA Rams, like these places where the organization is set up and they're running a good team. That would be terrible for the NFL, but I absolutely understand the player asking, why should I sacrifice the first several years of my career because somebody else ran their franchise into the ground? That argument is coming because NIL didn't just give college players money. It gave them something NFL executives should probably find much scarier. NIL gave these college players the right to look in the face of these billionaire owners and tell them no. And that could bring the system down from the inside. Segment 4. The Browns Watson problem isn't about football anymore. People in Cleveland are now putting anti-Deshaun Watson signs around statues around the outside of the Cleveland Stadium, the Jim Brown statue, and other places around the city. In my unpopular opinion, Deshaun Watson is no longer primarily just a quarterback problem for Cleveland. He's become an organizational identity problem because every conversation involving the Browns somehow finds its way back to him. Quarterbacks, Watson. Salary cap, Watson. Front office, Watson. Front office decisions, Watson's. Young players developing, Watson. Fan frustration, Watson. Jim Brown. His statue is involved. We have officially reached the point where public artwork has entered Cleveland's quarterback controversy. The Cleveland Browns don't have a quarterback controversy anymore. They have a quarterback cinematic universe. Deshaun Watson, Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel. Who gets reps? Who gets blamed? Who should start? Who gets developed? Who gets traded? And Todd Monken is going to need one of those movie boards with all the red strings and sticky notes to determine who or what is quarterbacking his offense this week. And that's the bigger issue. Normally, a quarterback competition is simple. Who gives the team the best chance to win? Cleveland's question has had 17 footnotes attached to it. There's money. There's history. There's public scrutiny. There are young quarterbacks who need development. There's the front office trying to justify decisions that were made years ago. And that's why I think Cleveland has to change the question. Stop asking, how do we finally make the Deshaun Watson situation work? What would we do if Deshaun Watson were not part of the equation? Bad decisions don't become good decisions just because you've been making them for a long time. That's sunk cost thinking. Cleveland has a poor man's mentality. If Watson is unquestionably your best quarterback, you play him, and nobody's going to give you any guff about it. If somebody else clearly gives you a better chance to win, you play that guy. Fans don't care about preserving the pride of the front office. We, as fans, want wins. And if your quarterback controversy has gotten so exhausting that people are attaching protest statues to Jim Brown's statue, maybe the problem has stopped being quarterback one. Maybe the real problem is that the decision from years ago still controls every conversation the franchise has today. At some point, Cleveland has to become the Cleveland Browns again, not the Deshaun Watson featuring the Cleveland Browns. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, we saved the most shameful for last. 49ers owner Jed York was arrested in Ohio after an undercover prostitution sting. In my unpopular opinion, NFL owners should have their judgment scrutinized at least as harshly as players do. Because every time a 23-year-old player gets arrested or does something reckless, we hear the exact same question. Oh, is he mature? Can the organization trust his judgment? Does he represent the franchise properly? And I'm fine with that. We're cool with that. But you keep the same energy when you're talking about the guys upstairs. Because Jed York isn't a rookie who just got his first NFL check. He owns the San Francisco 49ers. When Roger Goodell says, hey, the league is reviewing whether York violated the personal conduct policy, I'm interested. But there's another investigation I need conducted first. And Jed York, if you're watching out there, I want to talk directly to you. Why are you, a billionaire, out looking for poon at a trailer park in Ohio? You've got NFL owner money. You have resources normal people can't comprehend. And according to the police, this adventure allegedly ends, at a mobile home park in Ohio over $160. Explain that logic trail. You need Google Maps. You need time stamps. You need the films. Jed York has NFL owner money and allegedly went looking for poon on a Temu budget. $160, man. $160? What you gonna get an afternoon dancer with a C-section scar for $160? The police approach his SUV and then ask him what he's doing. York reportedly says, just driving, huh? Sir, you have left the main storyline and you are on an officially unsanctioned side quest. This is where my unpopular opinion matters, because if a player had this story attached to him, sports TV would spend 72 hours analyzing his decision making. So let's take a second and analyze Jed's. Get the film out, freeze it right there, circle it on the telestrator. He has several available reasons. He could take his ass home. He could go to dinner. He could swipe right or left on a dating app. He could go home and watch Netflix. He could sit in his penthouse hotel room and stare directly at the wall. All available options, all open. Instead, allegedly, he ignores every check down and throws directly into triple coverage. You don't get to own the building, help write the rules, and then make decisions that sound like they were planned in the back seat of a 2007 Altima. So yes, Roger Goodell can investigate the personal conduct policy, but I'm reviewing the football decision. 8 seconds left, no timeouts, nothing open downfield. Jed, punt the ball, live to play another down. Because apparently, NFL owner money can buy you almost anything except the ability to look at a terrible idea and say, you know what? Maybe I should just take my horny ass home. All right, guys, that's it for the second episode of Unpopular on Purpose. 5 stories, 5 takes, and at least one opinion that made you say, what the hell is this dude talking about? And that's exactly where we want you. The whole point of the show is to not repeat the safest take everybody already agrees with. It's to look at the story, push on it a little harder, and ask, what if the obvious opinion isn't the interesting one? This week, my final take is simple. The NFL is changing fast. Players have more leverage. The league is chasing more money. Old traditions are dying. Bad decisions are getting exposed faster. And somehow Cleveland is still finding ways to make a quarterback drama feel like a full-time department all in its own. So if you agreed with everything I said, honestly, I am a little concerned and you may want to seek help. If you disagreed, good. That means we've got something to argue about in the comments. Drop your most unpopular take from the week below. And if you enjoyed the episode, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. Stick around, because next week I'll be back with 5 more NFL stories and 5 more opinions designed to irritate at least one fan base. This has been Unpopular on Purpose, where the take might be wrong, but at least it won't be boring.